isn't actually working at all. Hello, hello, beautiful you, and welcome to today's spotlight. I am shining a spotlight on the phenomenal Candy Morell. She is a systems specialist. She helps online entrepreneurs to scale their businesses with effective systems, back-end genius, automations, time management tools, leadership strategies, ways of hiring and structuring that training of your team. So many good things that Candy does that I was like, jump into my group and let's have a conversation because I want to shine a spotlight on you. So thank you for being here, Candy.
Thank you for having me. So good to be here and to chat about all the good things in the back end around scaling your business.
Yeah, amazing. Now, a little insider scoop. I worked with Candy to set up my online curriculum for one of my courses, which I had been delivering live for the first few enrollments. And I think like when I had the first three come in, brand new course, first three sales, awesome, great. Build the plane while you're flying it. Next three people came in. Okay, yep, still all right. Another person came in. And then it got to the point where I was at like a sports carnival for my son at the swimming carnival trying to reset a password for someone because my portal wasn't working properly. And I was like, I don't think this is gonna hold for a lot more people. And that was the reality. It didn't hold for a lot more people. And so I started working with Candy to help me solve that particular problem. And then, why don't you tell them what comes next? What happened next?
Yeah, so the more we got into it and the more we looked at it, things started to just kind of break a little bit. And we were like, here's a gap, here's a gap, here's a gap. Here's where this is going to start busting under more volume, under more people. And so first we started looking at how do we tighten up the curriculum so that it was easier for the client's perspective to navigate the course content, to find their way around, to know exactly where they were up to, and for that to be languaged perfectly for them to know where they're up to in the process so that they could start to self-lead themselves through the curriculum a little more and
Mm.
to be able to be a little bit less dependent on coming to a call and hoping that you would kind of fill the gaps with your genius and your wisdom and your expertise. And so between the calls, they could really lead themselves through your body of work and for that to hold whether you were there in the room with them or not.
Mm.
Another place we looked at was where you had a VA and where that was falling over and where it was causing a lot more work than you actually really wanted or needed it to be. And so we looked at some of the processes and how we could tighten that up, how that hiring unfolded, what were the actual skills that you needed them to have, and what level of experience. And then we also noticed that there wasn't a lot for them to follow in terms of processes, or there wasn't the context around it, from someone stepping into your business, not knowing everything that you do. So we really looked at the procedures, the job descriptions, how the workflow would actually practically happen for someone who was just stepping into your business for a few hours a day, and
Mm.
how they would practically go about doing that job effectively in a time efficient manner to the standard that you actually wanted it. So we
Totally.
tightened all of those pieces up so that when you do hire the next person, they come in and that's all set up for them, ready to rock.
Yeah, amazing. So one of the things that we did was developed streamlined standard operating procedures, SOPs, a clear job description, a clear training system, clear training videos, step by micro step, KPIs, key performance indicators that show us is this person doing their job well, setting them up for success with checklists like here's what you need to do every single day, here's what you need to do every Monday, here's what you need to do every Friday, right? Whereas what I had been doing was saying, communicating to the person, saying, okay, every Monday, can you do this? And they'd say, sure. And then the next Monday would roll around and they wouldn't do it. And I'd be like, why? I asked you to do this every Monday, but it would kind of just disappear. And I think that a lot of people have something similar happen where they're growing teams and they're expecting a lot of that team. And they're expecting people to be able to take what you put down, pick it up, and run with it ongoing rather than just as a one-off task. And that's where you need systems in place to help people stay on track because otherwise they forget what you asked them to do last Monday and they forget that you told them you need it done every Monday and they forget the way that they did it because they're in a new job. And that's just the reality of being human. And there's nothing wrong with your person per se. It's just you haven't set them up for success. And that's something that I absolutely did with my VA. I didn't set them up for success. And then I was getting frustrated that they weren't succeeding. Um, and then so the combination of work that we've done together means that I now have a beautiful online portal that looks premium as well as works beautifully that my clients can access at any time and I can also access and upload and add new material whenever I want to. It works really well. There's an automated client onboarding system when people sign up and they automatically receive all of the things. I'm not there being like, okay, now I have to add them to this portal. Now I have to send them this stuff. Now, if I have a day where I'm busy seeing clients back to back, someone gets ignored for 4 hours or whatever. That is not happening anymore. And I think there comes a point where, when you've decided you're going to scale something and you're going to serve a group of people in a particular way rather than just a small handful, you want it to be longer term and more ongoing. That's really, would you say that's when someone should hire you to do this work?
Absolutely. And it's when you get to a point of volume where it's no longer practical or manageable for you to be doing the things that were manual originally. So you might have had 5 or 10 people, and it's kind of like, yeah, I can get by doing it manually myself, or, having workarounds and ways to get around that. But you'll get to a point where you're ready for the next season of growth and you're more focused on where you're heading in the next 6 to 12 months and how you want to grow this particular container and ecosystem. And so it makes sense at this point to start building those really strong, long lasting, and evergreen systems and infrastructure and support around you so that the nitty gritty details don't rely on you so much, and it can free you up to spend more time at the front end, to be the face of the brand, to be out there expanding your reach and your mission and speaking and bringing in the people and the volume that you're here to impact. And you simply can't be doing all of that while you're manually onboarding or, faffing in the background, trying to build your own back end while you're doing it. Or, another place that this comes up is when you're running your challenges and your live events and things like that, when there's a lot of manual follow up in the DMs of trying to get people, to remind them and things like that. So that was another area that we worked on, was building out those automated funnels and systems so that people were receiving the reminders of when you were going live each day and the replays, and all of that was just happening so
Mm.
that you could show up to your live launch event, deliver, serve, and nurture the people that you felt were a good fit for the program. And the system took a lot of care of the background info so that you could just stay in your zone and do what you were here to do. So I think that's really important piece of the puzzle, where you're making it a lot harder and more labor intensive for yourself, when there's simply other areas that time and energy would be best spent for you and your business.
Totally. And certainly for me, like I didn't even realize how much I had become the bottleneck in my own business until that was taken away. And then I was like, oh, wow. Like it was a real eye opener. And it's something that if you know that you're here to lead a mission or a movement. And a big part of your role here is to be front facing, is to be being visible, is to be speaking on podcasts and on stages, to be live streaming with people, to be sharing the message, and to be calling the right people up and forward. And that's a big part of your role in terms of what you do, but also a CEO of your business. Then you need to have the architecture and the infrastructure behind you in terms of systems to support the increased volume of output and also increased volume of leads and people and inquiries and all the things. More is not better if you don't have the systems to process that more. In fact, like you just get stuck between a rock and a hard place. And so if you're someone who like that you need to be front facing, you need to be client facing, you need to be out there speaking, you need to be visible. It's essential that you have the backing behind you to support the follow through on that. Otherwise, you will constantly be dropping balls, and there will be clients who have an experience that isn't up to the standard that you expect. And what then happens is you keep yourself very small and you keep your impact, your footprint, so to speak, of impact very little so that you can handle it. So if
Mhm.
you're having this feeling of like, I really want to grow, but I couldn't handle it, um, I want to tell you that's probably not an emotional thing. Like, I don't think I could handle it. It would be too much pressure. It would be too much work. It would be too much risk. It would be, yeah, I just don't know that I could handle that. You've got a systems problem. Like, that's
Mhm.
not a mindset problem, or there's nothing wrong with your energy or anything like that. On some part of you, you can recognize that if I had 10 times the volume, this would break.
Mm.
And if that's the case, then systems is your bottleneck. And whilst you are getting more visible, getting out there, having more conversations, turning up the volume on your speaking and your potency and your message and all those juicy things out the front end, you have to have the systems and implementation happening in the back end. And you and I both know that you are not the one to be doing that, just like I was not the one to be doing that. I do not have an eye for detail. I will read a page and not see that there's one date there and another date there. Like I'm just not built that way. I'm built for this, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if you are built for this and not for the nitty-gritty details of the back end of an operational infrastructure of building automations, of making things look really sexy from a design perspective. You know what looks sexy, but you don't know how to make it that way. Then you 100% this needs to be your top priority investment for growth, and not investing is going to cap your revenue. So if you're in that position and you are feeling that that might be happening for you, what can people do, Candy?
The best way is to reach out and book an audit call. So we'll walk through a few of the key areas of your business, and we can highlight exactly where your gaps are in terms of your back end and how things are built and what would bust if you were to double or triple the number of people in your current programs. And then off the back of that, I've got a 90-day systems to scale program where we work on three key areas of scalable service delivery, sales, automate your sales processes, and then prepare your team as well. So we build those key three areas so that your business is built to scale in 90 days. And so, yeah, you're ready to go out and be the face of your brand, and that knowing that the back end is built to handle that volume.
Yeah, and I cannot tell you how wonderful it is to know that someone has my back end. Instead of someone has my back. I mean, she's got my back too, but she also has my back end. And that sort of security of knowing that the back end is handled, that as I create things out front, as I get inspired and have ideas, as I invent new programs and pivot and shift and evolve as an entrepreneur in service in real time with real humans, there is someone in the back end making all of that work online in a systematized and scalable way so that I can build, grow, and scale concurrently. And
Mm-hmm.
that is not possible alone. It is not.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are certain, if you know for sure that you are here to build something that matters, and you're here to build it in a way that lasts, that outlasts you, that's part of your legacy, that works whether you're working on the front lines today or whether you're off on holidays. I'm going to Spain next week. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah, if you want that in your business, then you need Candy in your business and you need all of the systems that are going to work for you. And I don't know about you, but I've been in business for 10 years. I've tried them all. I've tried all of them. Like, I'm not even joking. I've tried Thinkific, Kartra, Kajabi, Squarespace, New Zenla, WordPress. That's a lot. That's seven different platforms I've tried over the last 10 years. And I think, we've finally settled on what's going to work for me, which is great. But if you don't want to move through, it's only because I hadn't found Candy that I moved through all of that through trial and error. I used to be a technophobe, like it was tough, y'all. But now, um, you can collapse time on all of that. Yes, the platforms are better than they were 10 years ago, 100%, but you still need to know what it is you want to do and then find the right platform that's going to suit that the best. Now, you may already have platforms you love and you know you're underutilizing them based on what they're capable of doing. That's another time that you would absolutely bring Candy in and be like, this is what I do. This is who I serve, this is what I want to achieve. And then she just has this ability to see instantly, okay, cool. These are the systems you need. This is what it would look like. This is how it would work. This is what you've got working for you right now. This is where your biggest gap and weakness is. And here's what we can do about it. And it can just be so easy and so much faster than we've been making it. So thanks for joining me today, Candy. It has been
Thank you.
wonderful to talk to you, and to talk about some of the stuff that we did together. Is there anything else that you want to share with everyone in the space before we wrap?
No, I think that's feeling good. Thank
I
you so
think
much
that's
for
feeling
having me and spotlighting me and sharing your experience of yeah, working on the back end of your business together. It's been so much fun.
yeah.
I have loved serving your business and helping you go to the next level as well.
Yeah, it's so nice. Like none of us should be doing this alone. Hey, that's all I'm saying. So even if you're a solo entrepreneur and that is mostly how you like to roll, where you don't want to have a team, it's even more important then that your systems and your automations are really working well for you. And so it's even more important that you talk to Candy. So send her a DM, ask her for an audit, and she will take care of the rest. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you all very soon on the internets. So much love. Bye for now.